beautiful humans. Recently, I read a book called Irresistible: The Rise of Addictive Technology and the Business of Keeping Us Hooked. After reading this book, I have come to the decision that my future children will not be allowed to watch TV until they're 12, and they will not get cell phones until they're 27. It was kind of a scary book. It talked about how substance addiction is remarkably similar to behavioral addictions, like playing video games or checking social media all day long. So I wanted to make this video and talk about not only what is on my phone, which is fun to talk about, I really like watching videos like this, but also how I try to make my phone a tool for productivity as much as I can and less of a distraction, because I definitely will never ever permanently give up my phone. Not to be dramatic, but I would literally die, but I can do things to make it less problematic. So welcome to a tour of my phone. First and foremost, it's an iPhone 8. Team iPhone, yay. On my lock screen, I usually just rotate out different pictures of BTS, and then on my home screen, I have like a aesthetic sunset sky as my wallpaper. So one of the first things that people usually notice about my phone is that it's in black and white. I read an article once about all the little tricks that phone companies and app companies use to suck you in and keep you using their products, and one of those tricks, even though it doesn't really feel that much like a trick, is just the use of color. So my phone, when it's colorful, is very colorful and fun and engaging, but I don't want my phone to be fun and engaging. Like, for example, those badge notifications, that red color just makes them so tempting. Like, you want to see what the notification is. Or for example, on Instagram, the DMs, when they're like this hot pink color, like, I don't know about you, but I really want to know what those notifications are. But somehow, like, psychologically, once I switch it to black and white, it just doesn't entice me as much. I'm gonna switch it back to color for this video because I want to keep you watching this video, so I'm gonna use the same tricks that app companies use. Real quick, the way that you set this up on an iPhone is you go to your settings, accessibility, at the bottom, rapid function. So this programs your triple home press, and the one you want to choose is color filter. And this part might already be preset, but in case it doesn't work, you're gonna have to go to screen and text size, go down to the color filter option, and then make sure that your grayscale filter is turned on, not the other ones. So now, if I just triple click, I can quickly switch between my grayscale mode and my color mode. And I like to have this shortcut because, for example, if I'm editing photos, I'm a talented photographer, but not so talented that I can edit in grayscale. So if I'm editing something, I'll quickly turn the colors back on. If I'm watching YouTube, I don't want to watch videos in grayscale. So it's just very easy to access that. The second thing that people usually notice about my phone is that it's in Spanish. Está en español porque yo necesito practicar español. You actually learn a lot of words by doing this, and the cool thing about it is that all of the words you learn are like applicable to your life because they appear on your phone, and it's modern vocabulary that a modern person would use to talk about technology and their phone and apps and things like that. For this video, I'm gonna actually go and switch my phone back to English just to make it easier for my primarily English-speaking audience. I am constantly changing around the way I have my notifications set up. So for example, recently, one morning I woke up and I was turning my alarm off and I saw not one but 2 stressful emails on my lock screen. So my day had not even started and already I felt like this anxious feeling all throughout my morning routine. It just set me up for a bad day. And so after that, I turned off my email lock screen notifications and I only kept email notifications in the notification center. I am saying notifications so much, but that way I have to like make the decision to swipe down in order to see my emails, and I can pretty easily avoid them if I don't want to get stressed out by any emails. Avoidance is the best strategy. So the main things I focus on with notifications is number 1, just having as few of them as possible. So for example, for Instagram, I only get Instagram notifications if someone DMs me in my primary inbox, which is only for friends. And I have a lot of apps for which I don't get any notifications because I just do not care. The second thing with notifications is that I try to just remember that I have the power to manage my notifications. So as soon as I get like some unhelpful notification from a new app, I go and I turn that off. I just also experiment a lot with my settings in general. So one time I disabled all message previews. So all it said was that I got a message from someone, but it didn't say who it was from or what it said. But I found this actually made me more distracted because then I was curious to go see what the message was. So then I switched it back, but it's okay because you just keep experimenting. Another little general topic is I use the do not disturb function a lot before I go to bed and sometimes before I start working on something important where I need to stay focused. I do have it set so that if my family where is it? There it is. If my family calls me or if someone calls me multiple times in a row, that's probably important, so those calls are allowed to go through, but everything else is blocked. Alright, let's talk about apps. The apps that I have in my dock, I think it's called, at the bottom are To Do, which is what I use for daily planning, my habit tracker, my time tracker, and then this new app that I got for tracking how much water I drink. Wait, what? I drank so much water yesterday. No. Okay, anyways, the apps that I have on my home screen are apps that I use on a daily basis. So for example, I use my banking app every day, maybe multiple times a day, but I'm not addicted to checking my banking app. So basically this first screen is all apps that I use on a daily basis that are like pure productivity and functionality and just nothing distracting that I could get caught up in. So some of the apps that I have here, I actually use my notes app a lot. I got it all nice and organized and now it's actually super helpful. So I have it synchronized with my computer and I have different folders. Like for blogging, I have different hashtags that I use for different kinds of posts, Pinterest boards that I pin to, photography hashtags, photo shoot ideas. I'm not going to open up my dream journal because that stuff is weird. Some recipes. In my personal folder, I literally have a note where I keep track of how often I change my contacts and wash my hair, because these are basic human functions that I can't seem to keep track of in my mind, and so I need to outsource them to technology. I love Spotify. I love making monthly playlists because 30 days is about a good amount of time until I get sick of the songs that I listen to at the start of the month. And also, if I'm ever feeling nostalgic, I can literally pick a month and be like transported back in time to that month just by listening to that playlist. I also use Spotify for listening to podcasts. My favorites are probably the Duolingo Spanish podcast and the Minimalist podcast. In my Photos app, I have a few helpful folders. So one folder that I use a lot is actually the favorites. And the reason I do this is because when I airdrop something from my computer to my phone to post on Instagram, the date associated with the file is not the date that I airdrop to my phone. I don't know if any of this explanation makes sense, but so when I go to Instagram and I want to post something on stories, it's not in chronological order, and so the stuff that I want to post just gets lost somewhere. So what I do is after I airdrop it, I put a heart on it and then I can just open the favorites folder and quickly find it. Other helpful folders I have in my notes app, I have a folder for BTS memes because those are so often applicable to conversations. I also have a folder for photos to post on my photography account, which just makes the social media promotion process so much faster. Other apps that I use a lot, I love Google Calendar. Clue is a great period tracker that also has a lot of interesting symptom tracking features. I could not survive, even in my hometown, without Google Maps. I love the Insight Timer meditation app. I use the clock app a lot for setting 25-minute Pomodoro timers. And yeah, that's pretty much the first page. So let's move on to the second page and get into all the apps that waste my time. But basically, these are either apps that I don't use that often or I don't want to allow myself easy access to. This folder is basically just a trash folder. Next up is my photo and video folder. I use Google Photos for backing up all of my personal and blog photos. Perfect Video is obviously a video editing app, but it's very, very versatile. I do not like using iMovie. This feels a lot more like editing on a computer, just on a smaller screen. And so I use this for editing little Instagram videos, or if I have a time-lapse video that I need to speed up, just any like very minor little video edits that I need to do. Lightroom is my go-to for photo editing. 8mm takes super cute aesthetic vintage videos. Blur Photo does exactly what the name says. Storylux and Unfold have great Instagram stories templates. Brullar is that app that was trendy like months ago where you take a video and then it makes it glitter and sparkle. Camera Connect for using my phone as a remote for my Canon camera. And then 1 second a day, which I have since given up on. I just realized I really suck at taking videos every day. Alright, this is the big one. This is the social category. I have a interesting relationship with the apps in this category. YouTube, I've probably deleted on 10 separate occasions, and then I get fed up with trying to find videos on Safari. I re-download it, I delete it again. I also used to use Pinterest and Twitter way too much, so as you can see, I've deleted those. Now I use Pinterest on my computer occasionally, and Twitter, I will go to Safari, but the catch is that now since my phone is in Spanish, it'll show me tweets in Spanish, which makes it much more difficult and a lot less fun, which is the goal. So other social apps, the top row is for communicating with people. I've got Instagram, and then for planning Instagram posts, and then YouTube Studio, MailChimp, and Squarespace are for blogging. My education folder used to have more when I went to school, but now it's just a Korean dictionary, Spanish dictionary, and then Italki, which is where I recently started taking tutoring lessons. In the health folder, I have my gym app, one of my favorite workout apps, which I pretty much credit with the reason why I have any level of fitness today or am able to do any amount of push-ups. I've got an interval timer, and then this is the old period tracking app that I used to use, but I've just been too lazy to figure out how to export the data from it, so I just keep it around. Utilities is pretty much a catch-all for anything that I don't know how to categorize. Yeah. Entertainment is the folder that consistently disappoints all the young children who play with my phone. And finally, my travel folder has a lot of apps. It grew considerably while I was traveling in Europe. Probably the ones that I use the most are Culture Trip for planning trips, and then Hit List for keeping track of some flight prices. But there are a lot of apps like Vueling and Flixbus and Ryanair that I only need when I'm flying Ryanair or taking a Flixbus, but they do really come in handy in that situation. So they don't take up a lot of space on my phone, so I don't mind just keeping them stashed in this folder. Also, this is not even about what's on my phone, but I cannot have my phone anywhere in sight while I'm working. I'm pretty sure there's been studies done on this where literally just the presence of a phone negatively impacts people's productivity and their social interactions. So when I'm doing a Pomodoro of work time, I have to literally hide my phone so that I don't even see it out of the corner of my eye. And I highly recommend doing that as well, because there is just some bad energy that comes from phones. Even if it's not making any noise, it's not showing any notifications, it's just there, it still has an effect on you. So in conclusion, phones are pretty helpful. For example, those 3 apps that I have at the bottom of my dock are pretty much the machinery that keeps my life running, and I don't know how I would live without them. But I do hate how much my phone sucks me in sometimes, and I'm trying to manage that. I think the most important thing is to keep experimenting and changing things. So the way that you use your phone is constantly changing, so you should be updating your notification settings, deleting old apps you don't use anymore, rearranging your apps. If you are not happy with your phone habits, you have to remember that you have the power to do something about it. You have the power to reprogram your phone, basically, and change the role that it plays in your life. So that's the moral of this video. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye!